صباح الخير جميعا. What happens here is preparing you for the future, preparing you for what you are going to face in the near future and in the far future. It's not a joke, it's not general information, it is professional knowledge. Okay? Remember, we have to put our eyes on the future. Which nerve you are interested in? Let's look at the radial nerve, the largest nerve branching from the brachial plexus. This person cannot extend the wrist and cannot extend the arm as well. Therefore, he or she is lifting the forearm. No extension at the wrist, no extension at metacarpopharyngeal joint, no extension at interpharyngeal joint. Again, the same problem. Wrist drop. Radial nerve starts with sharing of all roots of the brachial plexus, and it is a branch of the posterior cord. The three posterior divisions of the brachial plexus forms the posterior cord, and the radial nerve is C5, 6, 7, 8, and T1. It is the largest and most frequently injured. Quiet, please. It is C5, 6, 7, 8, and T1. Now, this is the deltoid, a little bit reflected to see the axilla. And this is the radial nerve coming out of the posterior cord. It is going to leave the axilla and turn around the humerus. In the axilla, it gives off posterior cutaneous nerve of the arm. In the axilla. And gives branches to the long and medial head of triceps. What's the importance of this? It's important because if you have fracture shaft of the humerus, the nerve supply of the triceps will not be affected because their nerve supply comes from higher up in the axilla. Between the axilla and spiral groove of the humerus. So, fractured middle part of the humerus, lower part, even upper third, the nerve supply to the triceps will not be affected. And lower down, it gives the branches to the lateral head of triceps. These are two heads of triceps, and the radial nerve goes into the spiral groove of the humerus in the triangular space. This image is telling me that the radial nerve is going to give nerve supply to lots of muscles. Extensors of the elbow, extensors of lots of extensors of the elbow and extensors of the wrist, because extensors of the wrist are lying here, and extensors of the elbow are lying here. If we look at the arm posteriorly, we can see that the radial nerve is spiraling around the humerus. It comes posteriorly, therefore it pierces the intermuscular septum. You know, the muscles of the arm is divided into two compartments, anterior and posterior. So it pierces the intermuscular septum and becomes anterior and lies between brachialis and brachioradialis laterally and passes in front of the elbow. It lies on the elbow capsule, okay, mid-portion of the capitulum. You know, the capitulum belongs to the radius. Dislocation of the head of the radius can affect the radial nerve. Here is the capitulum, okay, and this is the radial nerve coming in front of it. Now, at the elbow, this muscle is biceps brachii. This muscle is brachioradialis. And we can see the radial nerve coming anteriorly and dividing into two branches. This is the deep branch going between the two heads of supinator. And this is the superficial branch going superficially. This is for people who like drawings. This is the radial nerve passing between the two heads of the supinator and supplying it. Now, in front of radial head, this is very important piece of information. Between superficial and deep heads of the supinator, the deep branch and the superficial branch. The deep branch is called posterior interosseous nerve, running on posterior interosseous membrane, and supplies the 9 muscles of the extensors aspect of the forearm: the extensor carpi radialis longus, brevis, extensor digitorum, extensor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, and so on. The superficial branch, it runs deep to brachioradialis muscle, provides sensation down to the dorsum of the thumb and dorsal aspect of the first web space. We will see this in a moment. And the hand, as far ulnarward as the middle of the ring finger. So it's going to supply part of the dorsum of the hand. Again, this image showing the superficial and the deep parts of the radial nerve. This is the brachialis muscle. And this is the brachioradialis, and the superficial radial nerve passes under cover of brachioradialis, and the deep branch is going to go between the two heads of the supinator to supply the extensor muscles. شو هاي بالعكس. These are the end result of the superficial part of the radial nerve, supplying the dorsum of the hand. These are the radial nerve branches supplying the dorsum of the hand. One of the landmarks of the wrist is what's called the anatomical snuff box. And you can find branches of the radial nerve in anatomical snuff box. This is the area supplied by the radial nerve. It is around the lateral part of the wrist, dorsum of the thumb, dorsum of the index finger, not all the way, because this area is going to be supplied by the median nerve, and this is the first web space and extending to the proximal part of the middle finger. This is the area supplied by the radial nerve. This is how we test the radial nerve. This hand is supporting the elbow and asking the patient to extend against resistance. So we are testing the triceps muscle. اللي بده يطلع يطلع.
أنا شفت صبية بتطلع هسه ذاك اليوم كانت تتحاجج معي على how to study, what to do. She's leaving.
Loss of function of the radial nerve distally result in wrist drop. Signs of radial nerve lesion will include inability to extend the thumb, proximal phalanges, wrist or elbow. The hand is pronated. Why is the hand pronated? Because the supinator is not working. And the thumb is adducted. Why? Because the abductors are not working. And that's it. That's the radial nerve. Let's go to the next, which is the median nerve. There's a test in medicine called finger pointing. You ask many patients, point where the pain is, point where something is bothering you. So the patients usually point to the wrist. If you look here, what do you see? You see the palms of two hands. Here is a good thinner eminence, and here is somewhat wasted thinner eminence. This person cannot touch the tip of his index finger to the thumb. And this person cannot flex all the fingers. And this is what is common. Computer programmers, secretaries, they develop carpal tunnel syndrome. And the median nerve also takes origin from all roots of brachial plexus. Starting point of the median nerve is all roots, C5 to T1. After several stages of the brachial plexus, that's the medial cord, and that's C8 and T1, and that's the lateral cord, C5, 6, and 7. It has nothing to do with the posterior cord. Posterior cord will give us radial and axillary, and goes into the axilla. Now, in the axilla, it is related to the axillary artery. Two, let's say, roots of the median nerve from the M arrangement. You can see the M arrangement in green, and here is the median nerve. This is also the axilla. That's the lateral root. This is the medial root. And this is the median nerve being formed in the axilla. Lateral root, medial root, the median nerve going anterior to this tendon. This tendon is a flat tendon. It's that of latissimus dorsi. Okay.
الدكتور شو اللي يطلع من فوق النادي؟
لا، مو latissimus dorsi comes posterior, spirals, and gets inserted in the intertubercular groove. Again, in the axilla, two roots of the median nerve forming the median nerve. The median nerve in the arm is related to the brachial artery, and it gives no branches, and it lies between biceps and triceps here, head of triceps. No branches in the arm. No branches in the arm. There is crossing of the median nerve with the brachial artery. And in this place, higher up in the arm, it's deep to biceps brachii, and lower down, it's between the biceps and brachialis. No branches, crosses the brachial artery, then passes over the brachialis. This is the area of crossing. For those people who like drawings, it is first of all between biceps and triceps, and then it is between biceps and brachialis. This is the cubital fossa and the elbow joint. The star is pointing at biceps tendon, brachial artery, and then we have the median nerve. And this vein is basilic vein. Here is the biceps brachii, biceps brachii tendon, This is the brachial artery, and the median nerve comes medial. This is the medial epicondyle, entering now the forearm between two heads of pronator teres and supplying it. These are the two heads of the pronator teres. This is a constricted area and sometimes will compress the median nerve, producing symptoms. Now, this is the median nerve. This is, of course, the biceps brachii, cut here, and here is its tendon. This is the median nerve as it comes entering the forearm between the two heads of the pronator teres. It gives this branch, the deeper branch, anterior to interosseous membrane. Therefore, it's called anterior interosseous nerve, supplying flexor muscles. And the rest of the median nerve will carry on towards the wrist. And this is the ulnar nerve, passing behind the medial epicondyle. Here is the biceps muscle, is the median nerve. This is the anterior interosseous, and this is the continuation of the median nerve, and this is the anterior interosseous membrane. Anterior interosseous nerve running in front of anterior interosseous membrane. This is the brachial artery giving ulnar and radial. This is the median nerve getting deep to flexor digitorum superficialis. This is flexor digitorum superficialis. Supplies all muscles in the front of the forearm except what?
Flexor carpi ulnaris.
Flexor carpi ulnaris and part of flexor digitorum. Okay. Median nerve in the forearm, deep to flexor digitorum superficialis, and gives anterior interosseous nerve. That's the median nerve. This is the anterior interosseous nerve, and this is the continuation of the median nerve. Anterior interosseous nerve is a major branch and contains all the fibers of the median nerve. Comes out of the median nerve, it passes between two heads of the pronator teres and the anterior aspect of interosseous membrane, and supplies many muscles of the flexor compartment down to the pronator quadratus and stops there. It does not cross the wrist. That's the stage where the continuation of the median nerve is going to reach the wrist. This is the tendon of palmaris longus, and this is the median nerve. You know, this tendon is pulled so that you can see the median nerve running under it. These are the branches of the anterior interosseous, and then the continuation of the median nerve, deep to flexor digitorum superficialis. Before reaching the wrist, the median nerve 5 or 6 centimeters before the wrist, it is going to give a superficial branch that will go to the middle part of the palm of the hand. Therefore, this is called palmar branch of the median nerve. The median nerve is going to enter the carpal tunnel. This branch is not going to enter the carpal tunnel. Palmar cutaneous branch of the median nerve. Palmaris longus, median nerve. That's the median nerve under palmaris longus tendon. This is an MRI of the carpal tunnel, where you can see this is the carpal tunnel containing compartments of flexor muscles, and this is a flat median nerve. This is a general idea of the carpal tunnel containing the tendons. Now, the flexor retinaculum has been removed, and this is the median nerve. We saw in the MRI that the median nerve is quite large as the tendons, and it is flat. So here it is, large and flat, and it is going, this is the ulnar nerve on the little finger side, on the ulnar side, and this is the median nerve with the flexor retinaculum removed, and you can see its branches, palmar and digital branches. These are the branches of the median nerve in the palm of the hand. One of the important branches of the median nerve in the hand is a branch that goes back, therefore part of its name is recurrent, going to the thinner muscles. Recurrent branch of the median nerve. This is the recurrent branch of the median nerve. Then we have a very important group of muscles of the hand that will perform the fine movement of performing fine professions, different colors. The adductor pollicis, it is innervated by the ulnar nerve. Okay? The opponens pollicis, it is supplied by the median nerve. So we test, the opposition is a test of the median nerve. Adduction is not a test of the median nerve, it's that of the ulnar nerve. Flexor pollicis brevis, it is supplied by the median nerve and ulnar nerve. Lumbricals are 4 lumbricals. Lumbricals, what they do is they flex metacarpopharyngeal joint and extend interpharyngeal joint. Now, the 2 on the thumb side are supplied by the median nerve. Okay, so it's the index and the middle. Lumbricals are supplied by the median nerve, the first and second. Now the lumbricals are supplied by the median and the ulnar. Here is the area supplied by the median nerve. This area here is supplied by palmar branch, the one that does not pass through the carpal tunnel. And then 1, 2, 3.5 are supplied by the median nerve. Okay. It is C6 and C7 dermatomes. So the median nerve palmar branch is supplying the central part. Then the median nerve digital branches, and then these areas are colored darker because they have double supply. The median nerve, these are the very specific areas supplied by the median nerve only. That's the dorsal part of the hand, where if the color here was brown, that's the area of the radial nerve, the first web space, 1.5 finger and the thumb. Now, the median nerve is going to supply the 3.5 fingers on the palmar side and turn and supply the dorsal part, sometimes halfway, sometimes only the nail area. You know, dermatomes can be variable. The green area is supplied by the ulnar nerve. This is the OK sign. OK sign. It is wrist extension, flexion of metacarpopharyngeal, flexion of interpharyngeal, all the way. This is right median nerve. There are these people who cannot do this. They do this. Instead of this, they do this. Because the anterior interosseous nerve, which is supplying the flexor digitorum profundus, is going to end up in the last digit. If there's a problem in the anterior interosseous nerve, these people cannot extend the joint between the middle and the distal. So this is indicating that there is anterior interosseous problem.
دكتور مش حاطين الانتيريور انتروسيوس بيوقف عند الريست المفروض يشدوه.
يوقف عند الريست بس
العضله قصدك.
Profundus is supplied in the forearm. So this person is losing this part of extension. The result is this. This is the best, what doctors consider the best examination of the median nerve. It's the flexor pollicis longus. Okay, they support all the thumb and they ask the patient to flex the distal phalanx of the thumb against resistance. This is the action of flexor pollicis longus. This is the flexor pollicis longus, inserting at the base of the distal phalanx. This is a test of abductor pollicis brevis, also a muscle supplied by the median nerve. And this is a test of what? Abductor pollicis longus. This is a test of all the flexors of the hand. And this is a test of flexors of the wrist. So there's a problem in the median nerve. The lesions will include, of course, weakness in pronation, because the pronator teres is having problem. You know, pronation is not the only function produced. Pronator teres is the only muscle that produces pronation. There are other helpers. So there's weakness. Weak flexion, radial deviation of the wrist, thinner atrophy, inability to oppose or flex the thumb. So this is the story of the median nerve. Let's go to the ulnar nerve. What's wrong with this person? His little and ring finger are in flexion. Okay. Now, there is loss of function of the ulnar nerve. And the ulnar nerve does what? Does flexion. Okay? But this is not a new case. This is an old case. Because when the muscle is not receiving its nerve supply, it will start to atrophy and goes into fibrosis. Therefore, the muscle and the tendons are getting shorter and shorter. Therefore, first of all, the patient will not be able to flex these fingers, but later they stay in flexion. So this is an old ulnar nerve injury. This is even more extensive. You can see that these fingers are stuck in flexion, and you can see very obviously that these are metacarpal bones, and the interossei have gone into atrophy. Interossei fill the spaces between metacarpal bones. What is wrong with this person? You can see here that spaces between metacarpal bones are depressed, therefore the interossei are atrophied. Here they are not. The difference between the hypothenar eminence here and the hypothenar eminence here, plus the roundedness of the forearm made by flexor carpi ulnaris, and it is less rounded here. C8T1 is ulnar nerve. The ulnar nerve dermatomes, it is C8 and T1, is going on the palmar side, supply half of the palm, 1.5 finger, dorsum of the palm, dorsum of the hand, 1.5 fingers. Starting point is C8T1, anterior divisions, and then medial cord. This is the axillary artery. This is the ulnar nerve, the medial limb of the M arrangement around the axillary artery, and this is the latissimus dorsi tendon. This is the ulnar nerve, dissected, of course. This is the ulnar nerve going posterior to the medial epicondyle. هو هذا النيرف اللي أحيانا إيدك تضرب في الطاولة تحس كهرباء لأنه it's between skin and the medial epicondyle. That's the ulnar nerve going posterior to the medial epicondyle. In this operation on the ulnar nerve where there is a problem of entrapment of the ulnar nerve, you can see how thick it is. This is the median nerve, the ulnar nerve going around the medial epicondyle, releasing it from pressure. The ulnar nerve in the arm has no branches, but it does not continue like the median nerve. It starts in the anterior compartment of the arm and then pierces the septum and goes posterior. Enters the forearm between two heads of flexor carpi ulnaris. So the three nerves that come in, they pass between two heads of three muscles. This is the flexor carpi ulnaris, and the ulnar nerve passes under it. See all the way flexor carpi ulnaris, and you can see the ulnar nerve. It is going to supply the flexor carpi ulnaris plus part of flexor digitorum profundus. Then reaches the wrist outside the carpal tunnel and divides into two parts, superficial and deep. The deep is going to muscles and the superficial is going to skin. This branch, you can see it is going superficial, and this is the deep. Okay, that's the superficial. And this is MRI of the wrist. The median nerve passes through the carpal tunnel. The ulnar nerve has its own tunnel. It's not free of danger being trapped. It is called Guyon's canal. This is Guyon's canal, and the ulnar nerve passes through it. Now, in this area, the ulnar nerve is divided into three zones. In zone 1, the ulnar nerve passing just lateral to the pisiform. And then zone 2, the motor branch, the deeper branch, is going to turn around the hook of the hamate. And this is zone 2. That's the motor part. And zone 3 is the sensory branch that will carry on supplying the superficial areas. Same. This is the difference between the median and the ulnar. The ulnar is not free from narrow areas. It has its own tunnel. That's the deep branch, and it is going to supply two of the lumbricals. But how many of the interossea? All interossea. The dorsal ones and the palmar ones. 2 of the lumbricals. This is how we test. Deviate the wrist towards the ulnar side. This is a test of flexor carpi ulnaris. Then, what is the function of the thenar eminence? The hypothenar. It contains muscles moving the little finger. Okay? The flexors, the adductor or digiti minimi. Then test the interossea. One of the best tests of the ulnar nerve is put a piece of paper and ask the patient to grasp it and try to pull it, because the adductor of the thumb is innervated by the ulnar nerve. These are the movements of the thumb. Which muscles they spread the fingers, the interossea. Okay, so put them under resistance and ask the patient to spread the interossea. This is one of the best tests of ulnar nerve. Best way to confirm ulnar nerve injury is weakness or paralysis in adducting the fingers. So put a piece of paper between the fingers and ask the patient to hold. If he cannot, then this is a problem of the ulnar nerve. These are the dermatomes of the upper limb. You are supposed to know these as well as your names, because the patient will come and say, I have pain here. Here means the dermatome of C5. Okay? Part of it is in the axillary, part of it is in the radial. The end. Now, axillary or musculocutaneous. Let's see musculocutaneous. Okay. It's the same patient because he has the same tattoo. You can see that the biceps here is a good biceps here is atrophied. The musculocutaneous is the nerve of the anterior compartment of the arm, and it is the nerve of flexion of the elbow, and from its name it's musculocutaneous. It finishes its muscular part and becomes cutaneous for the lateral part of the forearm. C5, 6, and 7. Lateral cord, and then becomes the musculocutaneous nerve. It is going to form part of the M arrangement, and it is going to pierce the coracobrachialis muscle and supplies it. That's the musculocutaneous nerve supplying the coracobrachialis. This is coracobrachialis, and this is biceps, short head of biceps brachial. As you lift the coracobrachialis, you can see that the musculocutaneous nerve runs on the brachialis, covered by biceps, reaching this point where it becomes cutaneous and emerges from the lateral side of biceps brachii. Is going through coracobrachialis, and this is the median nerve. Here is the last part. It's between biceps and the brachialis, going laterally and becomes the cutaneous part. Here is how it emerges between the two muscles and becomes the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm. So it passes through coracobrachialis, between biceps and brachialis, and then becomes lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Only muscular branches above the elbow and only sensory branches below the elbow. Innervation, motor, biceps, brachialis, coracobrachialis. Sensory, lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Radial side from elbow to wrist. And this yellow area is the area supplied by musculocutaneous nerve. This is how we test the musculocutaneous nerve. Put your hand here to support the elbow. Put your finger, okay, and say, decrease this angle, and I'm going to prevent you. This is a test of flexion of the elbow done by muscles supplied by musculocutaneous nerve. There is this nerve. You know which cord is this? This is the medial cord, and there are 3 branches coming from here. The medial pectoral, the medial cutaneous nerve of the arm, and the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Here is the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm, and this is the medial cutaneous nerve of the arm. On the medial side, while on the lateral side it was the musculocutaneous nerve. Short notes about the axillary nerve, which is also has a short story. What's the difference between the shoulder on this side and on this side? Here you can see the acromion process, and you can see a depression here. It is very well rounded. The deltoid has gone very thin, and you can see the greater tubercle of the humerus. Again, same. No infraspinatus. It is C5 and C6. In the axilla of the posterior cord emerges from quadrangular space supplying the deltoid and teres minor. Problem with shoulder dislocation, it is going to be affected. This is the area supplied by C5 of the axillary. It is not this area, this is supplied by suprascapular. This is how you test it. Thank you.